in just about a minute or so. And we're going to go ahead and run through introductions this time and hopefully do a better job introducing these teams. For those on our live feed, we are getting ready to start here in just about a minute or so. So our first game will be Rome taking on Indianapolis. Rome wearing the black uniforms. Hey, they're taking their laps around the track now. Let's talk about who is skating this morning for Rome. We have number 06, Cosmic Cruiser. Number 10, Ice. 181, Ringo Scar. 1994, Hurt Cobain. Number 222, Spitfire. Number 27, Tragedy Anna. Number 3, Goldie Blocks. Wearing number 340, Ruby Red Slapper. 472, Star Viking. Number 480, Alexicutor. Wearing number 6, Gnarly Quinn. 777, Beetlejuice. Number 91, Macho Business. And number 99, Lightning. Those are our Rome Junior Roller Derby All-Stars. They are winding up to play our team lined up there in white. This is Indianapolis Junior Roller Derby. Skating the day for Indy, we have number 00, Angel of Anger. 014, Evil C. Number 09, Punky Bruiser. 1021, Rapunzel. We have number 12, Ghost. Number 1312, Death Pixie. 1650, Little Patience. 23, Pepper Spray. Number 24, Snowfright. Number 263, Soul Crusher. Number 27, World War Bean. Number 3, Envy. Number 42, Kitty Wampus. Number 517, Ruby the Ripper. Number 64, Mighty Mouse. Number 67, Mad Max. Number 72, Poison Dart Frog. 77, Dirty Dingus McDuck. And number 94, Lilyhammer. Give it up for our team in white, Indianapolis Junior Roller Derby. We do have an additional 5 games going on today, an action-packed weekend here at the Norris Racket Club and Fitness Center. There's a rolling whistle. We are moving straight into our first jam of the game and of the day. And we are off to the races on that whistle. We have Ice out there for Rome and Evil C wearing the star for Indy. And Indy is out with lead. Evil C is in control. Rome scoreless on that jam. 4 points, breaking up that first end of the game for Indianapolis. Now moving into jam 2 with a score of 0-4, Indianapolis with that 4-point lead. We have Mighty Mouse out there taking on Beetlejuice. 5-on-5 jam. Our penalty box is clear. Beetlejuice tries to find a hole on the outside, but is shut down by Indy's defense. Beetlejuice trying to get through. Mighty Mouse taken down and is drawn to the back by Lightning. And a track cut going over to Beetlejuice is going to cost them the chance for lead. Now Mighty Mouse is out. And there's 2 whistles. Mighty Mouse is our lead jammer. So back-to-back leads here for Indy. And Mighty Mouse in control on a power jam. Rome with a 3-wall defense against Mighty Mouse, taking Mouse out of bounds to the outside. Now Mouse re-enters. Mouse is still on this power jam. Rome ramping up their defense, trying to keep Mouse stuck at the back of the pack while Beetlejuice finishes her time in the penalty box from that earlier track cut. So Beetlejuice is out, completing the initial pass. Mighty Mouse fighting with Rome's defense still, unable to break out of the scoring pass. But here comes Beetlejuice, not lead, but is able to put some points on the board. So Rome has their first 4 points of the game, scored by Beetlejuice. Mighty Mouse still stuck on this first scoring pass. Beetlejuice now winding up for pass number 2. A little bit of a hip check there by Lightning on Mighty Mouse. Takes Mighty Mouse down. Beetlejuice takes a spill, gets back up with an incomplete scoring pass, making that a 3-point pass and a 7-point jam. Mighty Mouse still stagnant there at the back of the pack. That jam times. And it looks like Mighty Mouse did have some points, although Mighty Mouse did not break out of the pack, but those points still stand, so that's going to be another +4 for Indy. Bringing us to 7A, Indy with that 1-point lead. Indy with number 09, Punky Bruiser. And out for Rome, 3-4-0, Ruby Red Slapper. Now, we've seen Ruby Red do quite a bit of jamming yesterday, and Ruby Red is out. First lead for Rome on the board. Now, Ruby Red coming in that pack, full speed ahead. Just powers her way through with a quick earn 4 points and a call off on that jam. That's going to put a lead change by 3 points in the hands of Rome. .181, Ringo Scar with that star for Rome, and Evil C back out to jam for Indianapolis. It's close. It's a foot race for our jammers. That is going to be a Rome lead. Ringo Scar in control, and Ringo sacrifices the jam, keeps that scoreless for both teams. Evil C gaining some traction, but getting ahead of Ringo. Ringo goes ahead and makes the risk. They call off that jam. Rome with Beetlejuice back out there with the star. Another 5-on-5 jam. Penalty box is empty, so both teams have their full roster there on the track. And this is 64, Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse picking up a lead for Indy. Indy's third time getting lead in the game so far. Now Mighty Mouse beginning a scoring pass. Mighty Mouse is in, taking on a 3-wall of Rome blockers. Goldie Blocks tries to put a slowdown on Mouse, but Mouse stays up on those skates. And a track cut going to go over to Mighty Mouse is going to cost Indy lead for the jam. Incomplete scoring pass by Beetlejuice gives Beetlejuice 3 points on that 4-point pass. It's going to be a loss. Indy currently down 1 blocker and their jammer. Beetlejuice completes a second round of points, making this a 7-point jam. Nice coordinated offense there by Rome with number 06 Cosmic Cruiser stepping in to clear out a hole for Speedo. Speedo working her way to the top of the pack, but Indy just getting in her way while their jammer and blocker finishes their time in the box. Speedo out now with another 4 points, making this the highest scoring jam of the game thus far. Beetlejuice now on a 4th scoring trip. World War Bean working some defense there at the back of the pack. Now World War Bean with a rollback on Beetlejuice with 13 seconds to go and no chance for a call-off with no lead jammer. Mighty Mouse stuck at the back of the pack. We timeout at 2 minutes. Beetlejuice has a track cut called late in that last jam with 3 additional points, so I think Beetlejuice is looking at a 14-point run. 4-point jam by Indy. They're at 12, Rome 25, and this is a power start in the hands of Punky Bruiser. Punky picking up lead on this power start. Punky losing their pivot now to the penalty box. Rome down a blocker and a jammer. Here comes Punky for some points. Rome cycling their defense to the top of the pack against Punky. Punky fighting with that 2-on-1 wall. Death Pixie ahead of the pack now, trying to find a way to lend some assistance to Punky. Speedlejuice coming out of the box from the track cut, called late in the last jam, but this is Speedle's initial pass. Punky is out, putting 4 points up for Indy. Punky coming in for a second scoring trip, rides the inside line, takes down Ringo Scar and puts another 4 points up, making this an 8-point run for Indy, bringing their score gap a little bit closer together. Punky now coming in on a third scoring trip. 3-on-1 block there on Punky. Punky getting right in the middle of that tripod, breaking that up. Number 911, Nacho Business working that defense there. Now Rome throwing a 2-wall against Punky Bruiser. And that jam called off. Punky coming out with another 4, making this a 12-point jam. Scoreless jam for Rome. It was a thing closer to a bigger point spread, but now we're down to a 1-point game. 25 Rome, 24 Indy. Rome's got some fans here in the crowd, awake and energetic very early in the morning. Indy with lead, 0-1-4, Evil C in control. 3-4-0, Ruby Red Slapper has a star for Rome. And Evil C is out, puts 4 points on the board, breaking that, or making another lead change here in the hands of Indy. So it's going to be one of these games. You can tell it's going to be one of these neck-to-neck games that makes Junior Derby one of the amazing things that it is. Evil C out with another 4, so a very quick 4-point run. Ruby Red Slapper has 4 points to her name. Ruby Red getting one final block by Death Pixie, but Ruby Red is out with another 4 points. Evil C making a third scoring trip. So Evil C, one scoring pass ahead of Ruby Red Slapper. Nice jammer matchup in this jam. We are 12 for 12 by both jammers, and now they are on a foot race. Rome with a solid 3-wall at the bottom of the pack against Evil C. Evil C charging up through that tripod, but goes out of bounds. Compliments of the pivot, number 99 Lightning, with the rollback and Evil C. Now Ruby Red Slapper getting ahead. Both jammers now sitting at 16 points. Let's see what Evil C is going to break that tie. No, we are still jammer on jammer. Both jammers with 20-point passes. Ruby Red coming out with 4 more with a 24-point run. Now Ruby Red is not lead, but she's going to keep running out this jam. Evil C now not to be outdone. Puts 4 more on the board. Looks like we're going to be coming out of there a wash. 24 points to both sides. All that jamming, and we are still at the same 1-point spread. 49-48 Rome with that lead. And this looks like on the jammer line, we have Mighty Mouse, number 64. And Ice, number 10, jamming for Rome. Mighty Mouse getting lead for Indy. This is 4 leads in a row for Indy now. Mighty Mouse in control. Indy down, 1 blocker in the box. Ice getting through on the inside. Around that turn, has 4 points. There's a multiplayer block, and it costs 1 team a blocker. Well, no, there's a track cut. Not the time to be having a jammer in the box or a track cut. Mighty Mouse now seated, losing lead jammer privileges and handing a power jam over to Rome. Going to be a 2-minute jam with no chance for a call-off. Mighty Mouse scoreless before that track up. Rome increasing their point spread by more than that 1 point they began with. Now Ice currently running unopposed and Rogue on the track. Ice unable to call off the action. Ice with another scoring trip, making this a 16-point run. Mighty Mouse coming out after that track cut call, and there is a track cut going. That's going to do a pivot. That's going to put Nacho Business in the box. Ice with another 4, another 20-point run for Rome, and still 30 seconds to go. Ghost stepping in, trying to put a slowdown on Ice, but Ghost is going to be taking an all-expenses-paid trip to the penalty box for a full 30 seconds. Mighty Mouse taking on a 2 while Rome blockers at the bottom of the pack. Here comes Ice with a little bit of an apex jump, avoids that block by 1-3-1-2 Death Pixie, and Ice is out. Looking at a 28-point run. And 4 whistles ends the jam. A 28-4 jam there in favor of Rome. A lot of love for Rome here in our stands this morning. Gotta love the energy this early in the day. Our second game of the day here, day 2 at Philly Fest, will be around the 10:15 mark. That's going to be Cherry City versus Mars. There's a rolling whistle bringing us back to our game. We've got number 99 Lightning out there to jam for Rome, and Punky Bruiser with the star. Number 09 for Indy. Lightning picking up lead now for Rome. And Lightning coming in, seeing the threat of Punky coming up, calls off the jam. That's going to be a simple 1-0 going up for Rome. Punky unable to score before that jam called off just a moment ago. Now back to our game. Ruby Red Slapper versus Evil C. Nice work by Ruby Red. She is out with a Rome lead. 5-on-5 derby. Penalty box is clear. Here comes Ruby Red for some points. Ruby Red is in, goes up the middle, gets in the pack, calls it off. She's got 3 points on that. Indy scoreless for the past two jams. They're at 52, Rome 82, so up to what was a 1-point game, now up to a 30-point game. Nice jam start, 5-on-5 derby, 0-6. This is Cosmic Cruiser has the star for Roman. Cosmic is lead. Evil C back out with the star for Indy. Cosmic Cruiser with a 4-point run and calls off the jam, keeping that at a simple 4-0. Lightning out there for Rome, taking no time, picking up lead against number 64, Mighty Mouse. And Lightning's in for some points. With a hop, a skip, and a jump, Lightning is out with 4 and calls off the action. So seeing a fair share of 4-point hit and quit jams, bringing Rome now up to the 90-point mark. PRDJ would like to thank all of the officials who are here this weekend. Without you, this weekend would not have been possible. The skaters are so grateful for your time, support, and guidance as they navigate the sport of roller derby. Ruby Red Slapper back out to take on Punky Bruiser number 09. First lead for Indianapolis here in about 5 jams. Punky Bruiser, lead jammer and in control. We are at a 5-on-5 jam. Nice attempted block by Lilyhammer trying to take down Ruby Red amidst that apex jump. Ruby Red coming out of that jam with 4 points, albeit not lead. And we are in a timeout by our officials. It looks like we have 1 point here rolling in for Indy. Our officials going for a timeout between these two jams. About 11 minutes left to our first period of our first game. Hey, if this is your first trip to Philadelphia, citywide favorite Wawa has everything you need from hoagies, our regional favorite sandwich, drinks, snacks, you name it, Wawa has it. Fuel your day with Wawa, your all-day, everyday convenience store. Gotta have a Wawa. We are still doing our live feed for this event today, so make sure you let your family and friends at home know they can watch this weekend's action on our YouTube channel for Philly Roller Derby Juniors. There is a link there to catch the action no matter where you are. Also worth mentioning that because this is sanctioned gameplay, the JRDA Code of Conduct does apply once again. The long and short of that Code of Conduct is just be respectful in your communication with everybody. Now, this also applies to any commentary that could be made in our live feed. The JRDA exists to help everyone involved, from skaters, parents, and officials to league volunteers and spectators, learn and grow in a safe, fun, and supportive environment. In order to facilitate that, the JRDA has a Code of Conduct that will be enforced this weekend. Here are some expectations from the JRDA. All participants on and off skates, including the fans, are expected to uphold a welcoming, positive learning environment at all times. Mutual respect and support is encouraged, and all participants will be treated with respect. All conduct on or off the track will be sporting, family-friendly, and professional at all times. Participants, again, including fans, will not engage in any behavior that will endanger the health, safety, or well-being of any attendees on or off the track. Insults directed to anyone or profanity of any kind, whether directed or not, are forbidden. Please use positive tones when encouraging the skaters and refrain from negativity toward or about any of the participants. And finally, have a great time and enjoy some junior roller derby. We are calling now for an official review. We'll grab the details of that and come right back. Indy calling for an official review, questioning whether or not their jammer who jumped the apex just a moment ago may have been hit in the head during that jump. The review is lost. The contact did not occur, and we will move on with our game. Lightning, number 99, out to jam for Rome, and Lightning is lead against number 014, Evil C. A quick 4-0 run there by Lightning. So Indy losing that official review, basically questioning whether or not their jammer who jumped the apex was hit above the shoulders and may constitute an illegal contact penalty. The officials unanimously agreed that there was contact that was initiated by their jammer. So does not warrant a penalty. They have lost that review. 181, Ringo's Scar out to jam for Rome, and Ringo is lead. 181, Ringo Scar. Now, this is Ringo's first time jamming today. Ringo Scar in on a scoring pass collides with some Indy blockers. 64 Mighty Mouse out to jam for Indy. And Ringo called off on a forearm penalty, losing that lead jammer privilege. Now, we're going to have a 2-minute jam and Mighty Mouse on a power jam for Indianapolis. Good chance for Indy to recover some of their lost points. We were just at a 1-point game a few moments ago. Looks like Mighty Mouse has to have a bit of an equipment malfunction here coming around the apex. Mighty Mouse definitely having an escape malfunction, and in that time it takes Mighty Mouse to get back up. Ringo Scar finishes her time in the box, and she's out. Albeit not lead due to that forearm penalty, she does have 4 points. So we're going to run for the full 2 minutes. Ringo taking advantage of a hole there. World War Bean tries to close in that hole, but just a hair of a second too late. Ringo Scar out with another 4. So Rome now over the 100-point mark. Here comes Ringo on another scoring trip. Nice juke to the inside, and she's out for another 4. Looking at a 12-point jam. Mighty Mouse has a seat in the box, but is recalled to the track, so perhaps not a penalty issued there. Ringo Scar with another round of points, making this 16. And timing out here at 2 minutes. Looks like Ringo may have 1 or 2 points rolling in here by the end of the jam. I think I see a blocking with the head hand signal going to Ringo. Yes. Ringo going to be sitting as a jammer for a penalty right there during the 4 whistles, leading with the head. You're not allowed to use your head to contact an opponent. That is a very bad idea. Timeout here being called. Indy calling for a team timeout. They're going to start this next jam on a power jam. Our third game of the day, expected to be around the 12:30 mark here Eastern time, will be the Philly All-Stars versus Indy. Philly skating back-to-back. The next game will be around 2:45. They're All-Stars again taking on Mars. And then our final game of the day, and for Philly Fest, will be the Brawl Stars taking on Black Rose Juniors, coming to us from Hanover. So we have a full, active, action-packed day of Derby planned for you. We are still in this team timeout. Coming out on this power start, this is number 09, Punky Bruiser. Ringo Scar called on that penalty as the 4 whistles blow, so it's a fresh run of 30 seconds. 8 minutes left to our first half of the game. Rome 114, Indy 53. And we are off to the races. Rome down a blocker and a jammer. Punky in there Now, Rome does quickly reform a tripod to slow down Punky, but there is a no pack call. They have to let Punky go, and Punky on this power jam is our lead jammer. Rome's still down, the jammer and a blocker. Punky tries to go through to the outside, just about sneaks through, but it's taken out of bounds. I believe Lightning with that block to the outside. Punky with a four-point pass. Now Ringo Scar re-enters the game from that block with the head penalty late in the last jam, but is stuck on this initial pass, having some trouble getting past Angel of Anger. Punky's out with another 4 points now with an 8-point jam. Ringo Scar, not lead, does have 4. Beautiful apex jump executed by Ringo Scar. Just avoids that block. Now we are jammer on jammer. A little bit of a crash there coming around the turn. Ringo Scar out with another 4, matching Punky's 12 points. So far, this jam is a wash, but there's 30 seconds to go. Our jammer is still on a foot race, both coming out with 16 points. Punky taken on bounds and recycled by number 06. That is Cosmic Cruiser. All said and done, looks like Ringo does finally get 4 points ahead, so it's going to be a net 4 for Rome on that jam. To 16 there in favor of Rome. That to a 3-4 pack here. Pack advantage in the hands of Indy. 0-1-4. Evil C coming out with lead jammer. Jamming for Rome. Let's see who we have. I think this is Ruby Red Slapper back out there. Evil C will be sent to the penalty box, costing Indy the lead. Now down a pivot and a jammer. So Ruby Red Slapper on a power jam. She's got 4 points. A little bit of a hop there coming around the apex gives Ruby Red another 4, looking at an 8-point jam. Two apex jumps in a row by Ruby Red, yielding her another 4. And a 12-point run so far. Ruby Red still lead and still in control. Ruby Red now making her way to the top of the pack. Indy throwing a spread out 3-wall. Ruby Red gets past that 3-wall and puts up another 4, making this so far a 16-point jam. Evil C coming off from that penalty with 4 points to show, but Ruby Red on a 20-point run so far. (24-12) jam so far. Just a couple seconds to go. Ruby Red 24. Evil C with 12 points. Look at that apex jump by Evil C, making quick work of that. And 4 whistles sound. (28-point jam by Ruby Red Slapper for Rome. Now, a few jams ago, number 10, Ice, also had a 28-point jam. So a lot of lucrative scoring passes or jams here by our jammers for Rome. 85 points there for Indianapolis with a 16-point jam just a moment ago. And we are down to about 3 minutes left to our first half. Lightning, number 99, out there to jam for Rome. Lightning is lead. 64, Mighty Mouse has the star for Indy. Lightning now on a scoring pass, powering through on the inside, coming around the turn, gets a couple points, calls off the action. So Mighty Mouse unable to score. Rome still getting a lot of love here in our crowd. 166-85, Rome with that lead so far. Punky Bruiser now number 09 versus Ruby Red Slapper number 340. Oh, and Ruby Red called off on a forearm penalty, leaving the chance to lead Power Jam over in the hands of Punky Bruiser, who is currently fighting with a 3-wall of Rome blockers at the top of the pack. Punky gets out and gets 2 whistles and is our lead jammer. Punky still on this Power Jam, taken on a bounce, forced to recycle behind number 911, Nacho Business at the bottom of the pack. And Punky calls off the jam. That's going to freeze Ruby Red in the box to start the next jam and lend a power start over into the hands of Indy. It looks like that jam, all said and done, was scoreless for both teams. Rome going for a team timeout. Minute left to our first half. As a reminder that food is not permitted on any area of the rink. All drinks must have a cover or a cap so you don't have any spills. Please be sure to throw all your trash. We thank you in advance for your help keeping our facility clean. Also a reminder that if you are on skates, you must be in full gear. No exceptions to that. And for your safety and the safety of those around you, skates are not to be worn on the bleachers. And as always, we are a nut-free facility due to allergy concerns, so please make sure if you do have any snacks that contain any sort of nut, please consume those out of the event. We do not want to have any health emergencies here this weekend, and we thank you for your consideration in that as well. Team timeout coming to an end. Still looking at a power start in the hands of Indy. The Ruby Red called off on a forearm. Our last jam scoreless. Our last jam had Punky Bruiser picking up lead but calling off the jam, freezing Ruby Red in the box, buying a power start now for Evil C. So Evil C out there fighting with Rome's defense. Rome has all 4 of their blockers at the top of the pack. Back-to-back leads for Indy now. Evil C in control, but we are jammer on jammer. Ruby Red fighting to keep up with Evil C. Both jammers coming in the pack. Ruby Red getting stopped, and Evil C is out. And Ice getting laid out, coming around the apex. Ruby Red Slapper with 4 points for Rome, and Evil C having a seat in the box, lending this power jam now over to Ruby Red Slapper. So Indianapolis losing their lead jammer status. We're going to run for 2 minutes. Ruby Red out with 4 more points. Indy stretching a 4-wall out at the top of the pack. 2 of their blockers being taken down. Ruby Red unaffected by all of that, powering her way through with 4 more points. Indy still down a jammer. Here comes Ruby Red on a 3rd scoring trip. A little bit of a hopper on the apex. And she's looking now at a 16-point jam, and that jam is over. And that brings us into halftime. Going to take a 15-minute break here and come back to you with the second half of our first game of the day here at Philly Fest. a triple header with them playing both of our Brawl Stars and our All Stars. Then May 24th and 25th, we have, of course, our annual Hoagie Roll. This will be the 4th annual Hoagie Roll here by Philly Juniors. That will be hosting teams from Fort Collins, Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Columbia, South Carolina, and our friends, just that couple-hour drive out on the turnpike, our friends from Pittsburgh, Derby Brats, will be here for Hoagie Roll. That is, again, another 2-day tournament hosted by Philly Juniors. We close out the season for the Northeast region on June 21st and 22nd with our Northeast Regional Playoffs. That will be, this year, will be hosted by Black Rose Juniors in York, Pennsylvania. We will have our friends from New England there. Of course, Philly will be playing Mars, Crooked River, and their home team out there, Black Rose, competing in playoffs this season. And with a rolling whistle, we are out of halftime and in our second half. Ruby Red Slapper out to jam to start the second half. And Ruby Red Slapper with a total of 79 points scored in that first half of the game. Certainly one of the higher scoring jammers of this game out there versus number 64, Mighty Mouse. And Ruby Red picking up lead. Mighty Mouse beginning this jam in the penalty box. So it is a power start and power jam now in the hands of Ruby Red Slapper. Ruby Red now with 4 points on the board. Our penalty box clears out just as Rome loses a blocker to a failure to reform penalty. That's Goldie Blocks having a seat. Ruby Red now out with another 4 points. Ruby Red Slapper on a third scoring trip, but it looks like Ruby Red is taking a seat in the box, so she will be losing lead. After an 8-point run, Mighty Mouse now with a power jam for Indy. Mighty Mouse gets that block, but stays in bounds and gets another 4 points. Now Ringo Scar coming out of the box, coming back in the play. Rome currently down a blocker in the box, and a track cut called on Mighty Mouse is going to release Ruby Red Slapper. No lead jammer. We're going to finish this jam out for 2 minutes. Here come the shout-outs. Thank you, Teflon Donna, for the first 2 shout-outs of the day. We'll get these called here as soon as this jam is over. Ruby Red out with 4 more points on the back of that penalty she got just a few moments ago, making this, all said and done, a 12-8 jam in favor of Rome. First shot of here goes to number 1312, Death Pixie from Indianapolis. Speed, I am Speed, Kachow. And that is from, I believe that says MJM or MSM. So thank you for that. Number 99, this is Lightning with the star for Rome. Mighty Mouse finishes their time in the box and comes back in. Lightning with a 4-point run, calling off the jam before Mighty Mouse can score any points. Second shout out here comes to Death Pixie, number 1312 from Indy as well. This is Doc Hudson, you're doing good, kid, and that is Love Mom. So I believe the S or the J was actually an O, and that says Love Mom from both shout outs for Death Pixie. Going into a timeout now by our officials. Philly Juniors would like to send a big thank you to the staff here at the Northeast Racket and Fitness Club. We love skating at the NERC and appreciate all they do to accommodate our needs throughout the season. An especially big thank you to our friend Miss Anna from the NERC for all of her support the past few years. Hey, we love you and appreciate you so much. Two jams into our second half. Rome 198, Indy 95. Still in the midst of this timeout here by our officials. We'd love to recognize and thank all of the amazing Philly Junior families who stepped in to volunteer this weekend. Hey, it takes a village to host a tournament, as we know, and we can never do it without you. So many thanks to all of the unsung heroes making these events work. Looks like Indy's going to start this next jam with two blockers currently seated in the box. Game 7, which is going to be the second game of today, will be Cherry City versus Mars. Expecting that to start around the 10:15 Eastern time mark this morning. Then after that, Philly All-Stars versus Indy at 12:30. Philly pulling double duty today because after that game, their All-Stars will be taking on Mars. And then we finish off Philly Fest around the 5 p.m. mark. Philly Brawl Stars will be playing the Black Rose Juniors, who are likely en route to us now from Hanover, Pennsylvania, just an hour directly south of Harrisburg. Skaters taking their positions here on the track. What I really need right now is that Jack in the Box from a couple weeks ago that we played the sound effects from during that long timeout. There's a rolling whistle, so we are going back to our jam 2-4 pack in favor of Rome. Number 10 Ice versus Punky Bruiser. Ice is out with the Rome lead, but Punky Bruiser also breaking out. We are on a race for our jammers. Rome losing Ringo Scar to the penalty box, and now each team down a little bit of power on the track. Punky Bruiser is in, goes for an apex jump, but is taken down. Alexicutor with that defensive block. Looks like Alexicutor is going to go have a seat in the penalty box. Punky Bruiser also serving time for a track cut, leaving Ice out there unopposed on a power jam for Rome. Penalty box, certainly very populated right now. Rome, blockers, not show business, and Ringo Scar are freed. Justice has been served. They are back on the track. Ice is out with another 4 points. Rome now replacing those two blockers with number 3. Goldie Blocks joining Alexicutor in the box. Ice running rogue there on the track. takes down Poison Dart Frog and has 4 more points. Intensity of our game here ramping up in the third gem of the second period. Punky Bruiser's in, thirsty for some points. Punky is out, completing an initial pass. Ice is out on a 4th scoring trip. Gets a little bit of blocking by Lilyhammer, but Lilyhammer is going to be called off. Skaters rotating shifts in penalty box during this jam. Ice on a 16-point run. Punky Bruiser with 4 points for Indy. Ice running out the clock now with a 20-point jam. Perhaps time for another round of 4. Let's see what the next 6 seconds do. And Ice is in. There's a little bit of a tumble there at the top of the pack. Looks like Ice, unaffected, gets those 4 points just in the nick of time. So 24-8 in favor of Rome. They're at 222. Indy with an 11. Our skaters can get the space they need to get back up on their skates. It looks like everything's going to be okay. We like to give our love to all of the photographers who are here this weekend. Your photographs not only make these skaters look amazing, but they provide them with the special keepsakes that they will use to last a lifetime. We are thankful that you have chosen to spend your time and share your talents with us. We have, of course, Drew Wiedemann, Andrew Keys, Ross Sieber, all of the other league photographers who are here with us, including our friend Lloyd from Hit Squad TV. Thank you so much for being here for Philly Fest. We will certainly be looking forward to all of the action highlight videos and photos from this weekend. We know that our photographers and Hit Squad TV are of the highest quality, so we are very happy to have you here. giving our junior skaters the recognition they rightly deserve. We are back to our jam. 3-4-0, ready, Ruby Red Slapper out there. It's a 5-on-5 jam. Ruby Red picking up lead over Mad Max, number 67 from Indy. Now, Ruby Red making quick work of that initial pass. She is in to score some points, powering her way through that tripod of Indy blockers, and she's got the 4 points now to her name. Rome losing a blocker to a penalty. Ruby Red coming in on a second scoring trip, coming in, taking that wall right up the middle. And Ruby Red, 2 more points, or maybe 3 more points rolling in here, calling off the jam. It looks like Indy does have some points. Looks like they got a 3-point run and an 8-point jam by Ruby Red. So Indy, 109. Rome, 230. Three to 4 pack in favor of Indy. 99 Lightning out there to jam versus number 64 Mighty Mouse. Lightning coming out with lead. Mighty Mouse stuck in that tripod. Ringo Scar with a couple blocks on Mighty Mouse. Nice backward skating there by Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse is out. Lightning with a call off after picking up 4 points. Rome starting once again with the blocker in the box, so Indy with the pack advantage. We got Ice versus Punky Bruiser. And Punky's out, giving lead to Indy. Nice hustle by Punky. Our penalty box empties out. We're back to some 5-on-5 derby. Here comes Punky. Rome forming their 4-wall at the top of the pack against Punky. Looks like Punky gets out with 4 points. Ice also out with 4, so both jammers now in point-scoring positions. And Punky calling off this jam at a 4-4 for each team. Indy with Mad Max out there. Ruby Red Slapper jamming for Rome. Ruby Red making her way up to the top of the pack and is called off on a penalty. Let's see what happens from this. It's like she didn't catch the hand signal, but Ruby Red is off on a penalty, so it's a power jam in the hands of Mad Max. Mad Max taking 2 whistles and is lead jammer on a power jam. Coordinated defense there. Looks like Indy lining up on the outside line, allowing Mad Max to take on that tripod. Now here comes Indy's blockers breaking up that wall. Mad Max taken to the back of the pack and forced to recycle. Spitfire with that defense at the bottom of the pack. Mad Max once again taken out and drawn to the back by number 911, Nacho Business. Ruby Red Slapper coming in from that earlier penalty she got on her initial pass. And a track cut going to Mad Max. So jammers taking turns in the penalty box. Now looking at a 2-minute jam. Ruby Red Slapper not lead, but currently unopposed. No chance for a call-off. We're going to run this for the rest of the 2 minutes. Ruby Red Slapper not lead, but has 4 points. Ruby Red making her way past all 4 Indy blockers still on this power jam. She's got another 4 points to her name there on the board. Now Rome losing their pivot just as Ruby Red comes in for another round of points. Mad Max finishing time in the box in that track cut just a moment ago. Comes back in and recovers with a 4-point pass. Ruby Red coming out with another 4 points as well. Rome hitting the 250-point mark, and 4 whistles ends that jam at 2 minutes. Still doing these dollar shoutouts. Visit our merchandise table for Philly. Among other things, we have Philly stickers. We have shirts from some of our previous tournaments. We have our wristbands there for Philly. We have the Squid Squad stickers as well. And we have those dollar shoutouts that you can get. Get the skater or person of your choice that dollar shoutout. They will bring that up here to the announcer table. We will get that taken care of. We're going back to our game. Lightning out is jamming for Rome. Lightning is our lead jammer. Rome still down a pivot in the box. Evil Seed number 014 has the star for Indianapolis. Evil Seed did get a point up there against Rome's scoreless jam, so 1-0 in favor of Indy. They're at 118, Rome 250. About 18 minutes left to our first game of the day here at at Philly Fest. And starting our jam with a 5-on-5, our penalty box currently clear. There is Ruby Red Slapper out to jam, and Punky Bruiser with the star for Indy. Punky Bruiser making way to the top of the pack. Rome with very good defense, throwing their entire four-wall at the top of the pack, putting a slowdown on Punky. Ruby Red Slapper is our lead jammer. Ruby Red calling off that jam in the middle of a scoring pass, picking up 1 point. Indy scoreless. Mad Max back out there for Indianapolis, and number 99 Lightning jamming for Rome. 3-4 pack in favor of Indy. Mad Max taken down on a bit of a blocker pileup coming off that jammer line. Very tight pack for both of our jammers, and Lightning picking up lead for Rome. Cosmic Cruiser with a block, taking down Mad Max. Mad Max making way out of the pack. Lightning now on a scoring pass for Rome. And Lightning getting 4 points, calls off the action before Mad Max can score. So that's going to be a 4-point hit and quit there, going to Rome side of the scoreboard. 255, 118. Some love by Rome still in our bleachers. A lot of energy for only being 9:21 in the morning. We are going into a team timeout here for Indy. Still in this team timeout called by the Indianapolis bench. That minute has passed, so we are now moving into our next jam with about 16 minutes left to the game. Ice out there now versus Evil C. Nice hustle by Evil C, getting ahead of Ice just in the nick of time to pick up the Indy lead. Now we are jammer on jammer. Evil C, recognizing the threat of Ice creeping up, sacrifices the jam, calling it off. So that's going to be a very quick and scoreless jam. Ruby Red Slapper taking the jammer star now for Rome, coming out on the line. And Punky Bruiser coming out the jam for Indy. Penalty box is clear. This is a 5-on-5 jam. There is Ruby Red Slapper out to jam, and she is lead jammer. World War Bean trying to close up a hole on the inside line. Ruby Red actually taking a seat now in the box, so it's a power jam in the hands of Punky Bruiser, number 09 from Indy. Didn't catch that hand signal on Ruby Red, but she is in the box still. Rome ramping up their defense against Punky Bruiser, keeping Punky stuck on this pass. Tragedy Anna, one of those blockers, keeping Punky stuck. Star Viking having a seat in the box. That's going to thin that pack out, that Rome defense out a little bit for Punky, but Punky still has a full tripod of Rome blockers. Meanwhile, Ruby Red Slapper finishing her time in the box, comes back to the game. Ruby Red finishing her first 4-point pass. Executor working some defense on the inside line. Ruby Red Slapper out with another 4. I believe this is our first star pass of the game. Ghost taking that jammer star in the last 15 seconds. Ruby Red, 4 more points, no lead jammer. So we are going to go for about 10 more seconds. Ghost now in the score some points, taking on a bounds on the outside. Ruby Red sailing through the pack, gets those 4 points just in the nick of time. That jam is called off. Looks like there's 3 points coming in for Ghost on the back end of that star pass. Now in the final quarter of our game, Rome 271, Indy 121. We are going to have number 99 Lightning taking on Mad Max from Indy. Rome with the pack advantage. Now Mighty Mouse finishing time in the box. Back to some 5-on-5 derby. Lightning with an incomplete initial pass, so Lightning will not be lead. Lead jammer is on the table here and open to Mad Max. If Mad Max can get past that Rome defense, Mad Max taking on a bounce, coming into the apex, and is forced to recycle behind number 222 at the back of the pack. That's Spitfire with that rollback on Mad Max. Mad Max still eligible for a lead. There's a bit of a trip there. That's going to be a low block on Nacho Business. Mad Max still trying to get lead jammer. Now Lightning with a scoring pass complete for a total of 2 scoring passes and 8 points on the board. Now Lightning not lead due to that incomplete initial pass, or as we also refer to that as a no pass, no penalty on the initial, not lead. Mad Max does get lead and immediately calls off the jam to put a stop on Lightning. Lightning with a 12-0 jam in favor of Rome, 283-121. Coming out the jam for Rome, I believe this is the first time Cosmic Cruiser is wearing the star, taking on Mighty Mouse from Indy. Nice bracing by Snowfreight, keeping Cosmic Cruiser stuck in the pack for a little bit of time, but Cosmic is lead for Rome. Mighty Mouse jamming for Indy. Rolling with those hip checks is out. The Cosmic cruising now with an 4-point run, working on a second round of points. Getting through, and Cosmic Cruiser now with 2 scoring passes deep into this jam. Mighty Mouse picking up 4 points for Indy. Rome down 2 blockers. Mighty Mouse out, putting up another 4 points. So Mighty Mouse with, 3 points. Incomplete scoring pass there. And our jam is over. Scoreboard being updated for that incomplete scoring pass by Mighty Mouse. That's 7-point jam for Indy. They're at 128. 8-point jam for Rome. Rome getting some more last-second points there. 293, just shy of the 300-point mark. Now Rome going for a team timeout with just under 10 minutes left to our first game of the day. For skaters who are entering here during the day, as a reminder, skaters on skates must be in full gear, and for your safety and the safety of our spectators, skates are not to be worn on the bleachers. Still in this team timeout called by Rome. Rome currently has 2 blockers seated in the box. And our team timeout has elapsed. We are coming out of there. It's going to be a 2-4 pack in favor of Indy. Ruby Red Slapper out with that jammer star. Our Rome cheering section is active here. Rome getting some love from our fans in the bleachers. Ruby Red Slapper held up by a Indy tripod. And Ruby Red Slapper does get out. Let's see. There's 2 whistles. Ruby Red is our lead jammer. And Mad Max having a seat in the box. This is a power jam now in the hands of Ruby Red Slapper. Ruby Red completing her first scoring pass, getting through on the inside line. Certainly, this jam is going to bring Rome over the 300-point mark. Ruby Red in for some points. Still on this power jam. She is out. There's 4 more. Ruby Red getting a hip check and taken out of bounds by the Indianapolis pivot. And it works in Indy's favor because Ruby Red has to recycle to the bottom of the pack. Nice defense. That is number 12 from Indy. That is Ghost. Now, Ghost received that star pass just a few moments ago. Mad Max taking a spill there. There is a low block being called on one of the Rome blockers. So Rome down currently their jammer and the blocker. Ruby Red currently inactive in the box. Mad Max on a power jam. Mad Max coming in for some points. Still on a power jam. Rome trying to close up that hole on the inside, but just a half a second too late. Mad Max is through. Spitfire closing up that hole against Mad Max on the inside, forcing Mad Max to recycle to the back. And Ruby Red getting Mad Max getting 2 points. Ruby Red with one more point here at the end of that jam. 7.5 minutes left to go. Rome 306, Indy 134. Penalty box is clear, so we have some 5-on-5 action about to start in just a couple seconds. Lightning out there taking on Punky Bruiser, number 09. Lightning finding some speed in that pack, breaking out with a Rome lead. Indy with a 4-wall at the top of the pack, trying to put a slowdown on Lightning, but Lightning getting ahead, getting through that wall, and has the first 4 points to the jam. Rome now minus a blocker in the box. And Punky Bruiser taking on a bounce to the outside and recycled to the back. Rome with a 3 while putting a slowdown on Punky, but Punky recovers and breaks 3 of the pack. Lightning having a seat in the box. I believe that might have been a high block hand signal on Lightning. So Lightning having that seat. Rome down a jammer and a blocker. Power jam now in the hands of Punky Bruiser, and I believe that's going to cost us lead for the jam. So we're going to go for the full 2 minutes. Punky Bruiser is out with 4 Indianapolis points on the board. Punky coming in now for a second scoring trip. Taken out by number 014, Evil C. Trying to buy some time for Lightning to come back in from that earlier penalty. Nice footwork, nice side surfing there by Punky on the outside line. Stays in bounds and puts up another 4 points. Rome losing their pivot to a 4-on penalty. Here comes Lightning ready to score some points. Looks like Cosmic Cruiser going to sit for 2 consecutive penalties, perhaps a insubordination on the back of that 4-on penalty. So that's going to be a full minute. We're going to do a old-time derby penalty here, a full 60 seconds in the box. Down to under 5 minutes left. Timeout being called by our officials. Game 7 following this game. Slated to start around the 10:15 mark. That's going to be Cherry City versus Mars. For our viewers on our live feed, all times will be in Eastern Standard Time, 10:15 here on the East Coast in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Northeast Racket Club and Fitness Center. Our official timeout coming to an end. Each team down a pivot in the box. It's a 3-on-3 pack. 3:18-144. Rome with the lead, and number 64, Mighty Mouse, is our lead jammer. And it is a power jam with Ice getting a high block call by Boom. Ice having a seat in the box. So, Mighty Mouse on a power jam. Kurt Cobain bracing a tripod at the top of the pack. Mighty Mouse taken out of bounds and recycled. Nice toe stop work by Mighty Mouse on the outside, but is called off on a track cut. 2 back-to-back penalties there by Mighty Mouse. Going to sit for 2. A little bit of a tumble there. Back block being called on a Rome blocker. No lead jammer, so Ice out with 4 points. With Mighty Mouse seated for 2 back-to-back penalties There was a track cut, and I believe there was an insubordination hand signal immediately following that. So 2 back-to-back consecutive penalties for our jammers. Ice in, finds a hole on the outside, on the inside line of the apex, is out another 4 points, making this a 12-0 jam so far. 20 seconds left on the clock. Mighty Mouse finishing time in the box and comes back in. Ice with 16 points. Mighty Mouse with a 4-point run, and our jam is over. Moving into an official review, we'll get the details and come back to you in just a moment. Indy calling for an official review. Spitfire called off on a forearm penalty in the last jam from Rome. Indy calling the official review to question whether or not the actions in that penalty could possibly go into the what could constitute an egregious penalty. When the officials got together and discussed this in pretty good detail, it was pretty much unanimous that what had occurred was the initiator of that block had sped up prior to making contact with the forearm. Now, making contact to an opponent with your forearm, as we know, is not legal. Speeding up ahead of time could go into the egregious definition. So the official determined that the action in question does meet the criteria for egregious penalty, and that means that 2-2-2 Spitfire will have been expelled from the game. So we are currently now handling that expulsion. Once that skater is replaced in the box, we will move on with our game. So Indy has won that official review. And we are back to our game. 2.5 minutes left to the game. 3-4-0, Ruby Red slapper out to jam, and she is lead against Punky Bruiser, number 09. And Punky fighting at the back of the pack, trying to get through. Rolling with those hip checks. Punky Bruiser making their way to the top of the pack and breaks out. Ruby Red slapper now ready to score some points. Indy with their defensive power at the top of the pack. Ruby Red gets out, avoids those blocks, and she's out with 4 points. Executor taking Punky out of bounds to the outside. Punky out of bounds just enough to have to recycle. So Punky taking on now that tripod being braced by Executor. Ruby Red slapper coming out with another 4 points. Indy with a 4-wall at the back of the pack, putting a stop on Ruby Red. Ruby Red goes and steps around them on the outside, stays in bounds, and has another 4, making this a 12-point run for Ruby Red. Ruby Red now in for a 4th scoring trip. Punky Bruiser trapped at the back of the pack. Ruby Red off on a penalty, so the last 30-some seconds of our jam will be a power jam in the hands of Punky Bruiser. And a star pass over to Lily Hammer, number 94. Lily Hammer now able to score some points in place of Punky. Lily with an impressive jump coming around that turn with a very quick 4 points. Not sure if this will be the final jam yet of the game. Lily Hammer comes around, but we time out at 2 minutes. Our cheering section for Rome still very active in the bleachers this morning. People starting to pile in as we are getting a little bit later on here in the morning. There is a timeout with 6 seconds to go called by our officials, and that might buy us one more jam of the game. We are sitting on a score now of Rome 346, Indy 158. Still doing those shout-outs at our Philly merchandise table. They are $1 each. Among other things at that table, we know you can get Philly Junior shirts for some of our past tournaments, our logo shirts for sale up there. We have some wristbands, stickers, but we are doing those shout-outs for $1 each. Those will be brought up to the announcer table. We will get your shout-outs called for you as soon as we get it. We have one that we are sitting on because this skater is not skating yet today, but it is a very special one that we are waiting for. Okay, and on the back of that timeout, looks like we did show an unofficial score, but now we are possibly moving into one last jam. So let's see what the outcome of this is going to be.